Well, hello everybody. I'm going to give it a minute to let people log on. Truly unbelievable. Breaking live, a very sad truth. I've put the link in the title as I went through the Faculty of Nursing at the University of Alberta, pulled the recent report on immigrant and refugee children, new arrivals here in Canada. More than that, I have outstanding amounts of data for Ontario, all of Canada, in historic numbers, all the way up to the pandemic, in half immigration rates, what was learned in children, immigrant, and refugee, first time Canadians going through their first winter flu seasons. And folks, the data that I present to you, now this is the Canada's health system. Now, of course, it's provincial because all provinces administer their own health care. Now, the UofA, University of Alberta, worked with the University of Toronto. They collected all their data, assembled this, released this just a month ago. They're not the only ones. They're not the only ones. We can go to the National Institute of Health. I know a lot of people during the pandemic, or calling it a plandemic, and those in anti-vax, and then those in lockdowns and mandates and justifying a COVID response, all used all this data in their own ways. Folks, I present it to you as it's written, unfiltered, unchanged. I can repeat this data easily from the EU entirely. 27 nations, 775 million people, literally way more experts with the same data. The same data. What Canadians have to understand is throughout the entire pandemic, you've had an incredible rate of immigration, the largest rate of immigration in the entire world per capita. Per capita. Immigration, legal immigration, can be construed as colonialism, as the University of Alberta's Faculty of Nursing presents to you. These are doctorates, medical professionals, their journals published. It's accredited and substantiated by the greatest medical experts in the world. Canadians, Ontarians, the amount of children you've taken this year alone, just post-January. This was written December, all data all the way up to December of 2021. Coming to the endemic, December 26th, 2021. This data assembled to that time, verified, put through the ringer, and now published just a month ago for all of you. I give you the first page. I highlight some key disturbing findings. This is from the left, what people construe the left medical field, telling you that by 2036, at the rate of immigration, child immigration, folks, listen to me here now. Listen to me really good. At the rate of immigration we're at, children will represent 49.5% of all Canadian children, meaning Canadian-born children will be 50.5%, immigrant children, first generation, will be 49.5%. 500,000 a year by 2025. Pierre Poilievre says 525. If you don't believe me, go back to February 2021. any conservative can go ask him, hey, what are your immigration proposals should you be prime minister in 2025? And he will tell you 525,000, 25,000 more than Justin Trudeau. Now, I have no problem with immigration. I have a huge problem with First Peoples and genocide. More than 150-year genocide, just as the country of Canada, never mind the 300 years. Whole nother story. I try to focus on what I can deal with in the present. Canadians, before you say, well, we're not going down this road, you're on this road too. You are now being done to what was done to the First Peoples so long ago. And First Peoples, at those numbers, 2036, my initial estimates are now in the toilet. As you all know, or maybe you don't know, Justin Trudeau just ramped up his immigration numbers considerably, coming in line with Pierre Poilievre, just 25,000 shy. At those numbers, 500,000 a year, do the math. First Peoples, your birth rate, which is in 5th place in Canada, ahead of all regular Canadians, just so you know, anyone more than 2 generations born Canadians, your birth rate is substantially higher than theirs, but nowhere near the immigration values. Now, again, this isn't a post about racism. This is all dealing with colonialism. And hear me good, folks. It's the idea of taking a foreign population and planting them in a domestic population to weed them out, to thin them out, to replace them. First Peoples know all about this in history through assimilation and genocide, 2 ways to get rid of them. By 2036, all First Peoples in Canada, you will officially be in the other category statistically, which means, for all intents and purposes, the government of Canada won't have to do a damn thing for you or honor nothing, because you'll statistically be in a world statistic of other, not even recognized. That's colonialism. That's modern colonialism. Now, Health Numbers Ontario. As I suspected, because I go through the data, in the link in this title, go read the first page of that report. It's going to explain to you what happens when immigrants come to Canada and a lot of Northern Europe, backed up. This is the Faculty of Nursing at the University of Alberta. These credible, verifiable experts, all foreign-born themselves, doctors who deal with the health of immigrant children. I can bring forward the best organizations dealing with immigrant children in Canada, including Ontario's, that's crying out right now about the ICU levels. It's largely immigrant children, as I suspected, and it's not about racism. I want to roll this back. It's about the idea that you come to a new country, a new climate. They're actually stronger physically and healthier than Canadians and First Peoples. Read the report. It's not just that report, it's a multitude of reports. Quickly, that health deteriorates. Different climate, not in your native communities. There's language barrier. You find out you're working for often $15 or less an hour at a considerable cost of living and multi-family single-unit dwellings. The health of these children deteriorates quite quickly. It's been this way for a very long time. Canada, the government of Canada, I can go back through all the data, has known conservative, liberal alike, and they don't care. We're being overwhelmed seen in Ontario because of these realities, published many times over many years, but yet the numbers continue to grow, yet there's no expansion of services. I think any Canadian born here can look at services over the last 3 years and tell me the quality of your health services. Never mind a new Canadian for 3 months not insured, with children, struggling in poverty, language barrier, often all kinds of problems they didn't expect, children dealing with that, and their health deteriorates. Not a new phenomenon. Not a new phenomenon at all. I find it funny that I published this morning, and you can look at news, not one word said about any of the ICUs in Ontario. It's been newsworthy all weekend up to a major announcement 6 hours ago, and now, and you know why? Because all the data I bring forward from all sources of health services and civil societies, health civil societies, all attached to Canadian Medical Association, all through Alberta's Medical Association, all through Ontario's Medical Association, the entire EU, and I could probably do the CDC if I had to, folks, if I had to. This is reality. And there's nothing any of your politicians are going to say about it. They've convinced enough people that masking is going to change things. Masking's going to help. The problem is how we process immigration and these excessive numbers that our system isn't equipped to deal with. We were not equipped to deal with it in 2012 at nearly half the immigration numbers. You can look at all the charts of how many families and children came then. You can look at just the GTA today, that all of Canada amount of children, a little more, is now just the GTA alone. 1 year after COVID-19, for 2 years of lockdowns, we introduced a mass amount of new children, first time winter, with all of these statistics behind it, in the largest numbers ever recorded in Canadian history. The largest, bar none. It continues to go like this. I'm not racist. I'm not against immigrants. I know how hard it is. I know what the cost of living's like. I'm a middle income earner, and it's tough enough. I couldn't imagine being at lower wages, having language barriers, and having to live in seriously substandard conditions, dealing with food insecurity like many of the First Peoples up north and Inuit, astronomical costs, food insecurity, disparity. And then you see new immigrants falling into that too within these major cities. How are the children faring? Reports say not good at all, and twice as likely to end up in serious emergency care, ICU. No one's talking about it. I don't see news going after that. Why would we construe that as racism? Why is it that Canada has a monstrous immigration system? Domestic pregnancies continue to dwindle down. Well, why is that? Is it because every Canadian's becoming more and more narcissistic? Or is it the fact that the cost of living, the future, is looking pretty grim for the generation right now trying to make it, like people like Doug Ford and Justin Trudeau try to narrate, or Pierre Poilievre giving you false sense of security, when reality is nothing any of these people are doing is for any of your benefits at all, and it's not going to make anything more affordable. Housing goes down, interest rates go up, the mortgage costs more money for an overpriced housing unit. And as long as more immigrants come, housing will continue to rise, rents will continue to rise, demand will not slow. Well, sure, no one can afford it, so hey, look, demand slowed, people are on the streets. We've put people out on the streets. We have people living multi-family, single-unit dwelling. Do you know where you find that kind of model? Hong Kong. Good documentary to watch, can't be made up, is Coffin City if you've never seen it. It is where we are heading. And read the report, Faculty of Nursing, by some of the tremendous minds of the medical field, dealing directly with Canada's immigrants as they come in. Children's health, immigrant children health. You will find these reports over and over and over again. Nobody's disputing it. In fact, it made it to the Journal October. Doug Ford and Justin Trudeau know that this is not sustainable. Something has to give. That give is your quality of life for all First Peoples, all Canadians, and all the new immigrants. More people, same amount of land availability. You do the math. You do the math. Health services, what about education? What about all the needs of the people? What about affordability? What about food prices? What about so many other things we rely on each and every day as they keep forcing the demand? Don't make life better for everybody. Just bring new people in to make those that are already here accept less. Less in life, less in existence. Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050. Literally, folks, and I'm sorry, but bug factories. Next will be the fungus, the algae, the milk from the bugs, the cockroaches. I kid you not. Canada is already on the forefront of this in Ontario alone in cricket producing factories. It isn't going to be too long before people aren't going to be strong enough in this country to fight back against the politicians. Go look at the report right there in this title. Open it up. I can't make that up. Not only that, I can't make up the European Union's version of CDC, the OECD. I can't make up their reports either. 2 years prior to Canada's reality now. I can't make up the reports by the National Institute of Health, used by lots of people, very good accreditation. Can't make up their reports 2 years ago, all through the early pandemic onward, and the risks of pursuing this kind of projections. Canada did it anyway. Doesn't care about immigrants, doesn't care about immigrant children, doesn't care about Canadians, and certainly does not care about the First Peoples. Constitutionally, only a handful of countries exist like this. I know 3 for sure. Only a handful of countries, 3 out of 193, have codifications without we the people, you the people. And Canada's one of them. It's we the divine politicians, we the crown. None of us are there. None of the First People are there. None of the immigrants are there. It is a first, second, third class and savage system. Very old, very disgusting. And as we keep going forward, as we get more and more brazen, and you watch left, right, these reports come out, and it's amazing how many people don't want to view it. Read the link. You can't make this up. It's a large document. I urge everyone to read it. I could all week post link after link after link after link backing up everything in that Canadian article out of the UofA Faculty of Nursing, sponsored by the Faculty of Nursing. Great medical specialists dealing front line, and go look at all those doctors' names. Go look at their names. All immigrants, folks. Can't call me racist. I'm using their works. Credited, published, verified. Couldn't make this up if I wanted to. People have to get off the right and left. You've got to look at what is. Get it out there. Share it. Doug Ford, Justin Trudeau trying to get Ontarians panicked, and they got a pile of mask wearers. I was going around on Sunday and I was wondering what is going on here. Masks, and I was robbed, folks, by a guy wearing a mask. So it was like, well, what's going on? Am I tripping out here because I'm thinking I have like some postpartum? But no. I see you laugh. It's funny, right? I'm thinking there's something wrong with me. Maybe I got stressed out from that experience. But no, it's going in several communities all over. You go into places, masks, fooled the public. The data is there for us who read the data. And folks, I'm going to say right or left. To create a lie, and have more than two people in on it, it always goes to the garbage can. FTX, we just watched that Bitcoin company. It was a closed circle of literally 3 friends. And they held it for at least 6 years. And eventually it got out. Doesn't matter how great the liar. And there was a central liar there. 2 insiders. That's it. Everybody else kept on the outside. Keep it in-house. If you try to do for statistical value, going to individual hospitals, trying to get nurses or administrators to make up numbers and statistics and lie, and do you understand, folks? 1 or 2 people that aren't close to you, or you're going to try and pay off, maybe you could get away with it for a few years. But to do hundreds or thousands that it would take to mastermind this fabrication that people think can happen, it's too much. And anyone who's ever been to jail, or if you ever meet any real criminals, really successful criminals like our Bitcoin recent, they'll tell you they kept it with a small group and they never let it out of the bag. They kept it with 1, 2 people. Even 2 people might be too much. They never go beyond that because the cat will get out of the bag. Never mind hundreds or thousands. It just doesn't work. You can get politicians lie. They're legally allowed to lie in Canada. No accountability, no restrictions. Every elections office of the province, constituted in the provinces, and those legislated federally, just one, Elections Canada, will tell you if you phone, are politicians legally allowed to lie to you? Of course they are. Of course they are. And folks, politicians lie, numbers don't. Can they manipulate, cheat them, fabricate them? Sure. What I give to you, I can keep reproducing these same reports for 2 straight years, warning of all this, at least for Canada. Can reproduce it many times. I can produce Canada's Health Ontario for children and ICU and care, care, it's in the news right now. I can pull the data for Ontario, all the annual reports, all the way up to 2015, showing exactly what that report says in its reality as it happened. I can do that. Now it's changed its name, it's a new organization, but I have all of that showing exactly what that report says. Again, this isn't against immigrants. It's for immigrants, and explaining what the government's doing, has been doing, in full knowledge of such, with medical reports as to why, and now they just ramped it up to record explosive numbers and want to get you all masking and maybe get you scared and go back into lockdowns. Who's laughing at who here? Who's really the animal here? Well, it's always your crown colonial politicians. We've got Doug Ford and Justin Trudeau front and center. Get it shared. It's credible, it's real, it's verifiable. Can't make up the report, read it, and weep. We're well on our way beyond any other nation in the world. When we talk about NWO, it's OWO. In Canada, it's constituted, one of the oldest constitutions, and sadly, it was designed pre-League of Nations, Age of Empires, the British Empire, and that crown sits solely in whomever you elect. And your official oppositions, federally, provincially, it's two crowns, federal, provincial, and they operate that way as they did in 1867. It's never been repealed or amended, and that power officially stolen in 52. Literally the power, at least the check and balance that the people could at least complain to UK's crown if Canadian politicians were acting out. Well, now Canadian politicians hold that check and balance as their power. So there is no check and balance, not provincially and not federally. And they most certainly do work together for the benefit of their crown. Share, share, share. This is it. This is huge. And if we don't get it out there and we don't wake people up, they're just going to go full tilt. Thanks. Bye now.